The only father-son battle that can rival this one. Yujiro Hanma versus father Yuichiro Hanma. Two monsters from the Bakiverse who have defeated the USA, both having the legendary demon back. You may be wondering which Hanma is stronger and a better fighter overall. Today, the truth about this matchup will be explained, without all this headcanon and misinformation found around the internet. I hope you enjoy. Considering everything we've seen Yujiro do throughout the series, calling him a monster might just be an understatement. However, the old man states that Yuichiro was a real monster. Many like to shit on him for getting his jaw broken by young Doppo. However, that whole chapter was more so dedicated to being like, yeah, so this Yuichiro guy, he's crazy strong. Did you know he's strong? With him just being glad Doppo was aware of that, making that seem kinda weird to talk about in a video like this, but you cannot ignore him stating Doppo's kick broke his jaw, even if you don't believe it did. And to understand more about his character, consider this. Yujiro reveals that his father is completely different to himself, to a degree that they're extreme opposites of each other. Some examples mentioned include outlook on life, how to live life, and techniques they use. This makes the fight interesting in more than one way, by providing some insight to who Yujiro is as a character. Let's first go over how each respectively defeated the USA. Of course, Yujiro during World War II was defending a small island, resulting in the attackers using over 1,000 tons of ammunition from the sky, sea and land soldiers, having Yujiro shown without any damage, with him clapping multiple soldiers with single throws. The army was that outclassed by Yujiro, they requested for the use of a nuke. However, the war had officially ended, resulting in the USA not getting a chance to use it, meaning they did not use a nuke on Yuichiro. Yuichiro did not survive a nuke. The story doesn't stop there though. Yuichiro attacked the ship with over 2,000 soldiers on it. A surviving soldier recalled the situation as a first-class fighter beating up small children. The presence of him alone resulted in all the soldiers to jump into the ocean. Thus, that's how Yuichiro defeated the USA. The full story. Yujiro's situation was during the Vietnam War when he was 16, clowning on everyone without the use of weapons, gaining the title of the weaponist weapon of the East, fighting whole military bases and being considered as someone who in 10 years could rival a national army alone, which we pretty much have confirmed later in the series. This in combination with him entering numerous battlefields later, the USA was forced to sign a treaty with Yujiro, with us seeing this treaty being recreated or re-signed with each new US president since. Pretty much conceding they can't stop Yujiro from doing what he does, so they'd rather be friendly with him. Governments in Baki have considered nuking Yujiro, however the overall impact a nuke would cause in the world is too great, so they don't even attempt, and the fact that Yujiro is close to so many other people. While it's also possible the nuke won't even work on him, backed up by numerous statements throughout the series, on screen now of Yujiro being above all modern weaponry, including nukes as stated multiple times. But the real thing to keep note of for this What If battle is neither of them have been nuked, thus neither of them have survived a nuke, just various other bombings, bullets, stuff like that. But from what we've actually seen in the manga, I would say Yuichiro's situation was more impressive with him surviving that, but again, pretty debatable in that situation. I already know some of you commented saying Yuichiro wins because Yujiro was scared of him when he appeared in ghost form during his fight with Baki. Let's now have a proper look at those chapters. If you compare all the reactions, Yujiro looks more so confused or shocked rather than scared in my opinion. This is much clearer when you compare him to the likes of Baki and Pickle, whose reactions I would say are fearful, but Yujiro's shock quickly turns into rage, with the mad lad Yuichiro just talking shit about Yujiro fighting a child and having so much trouble. This of course could be used to say that Yuichiro is definitely stronger than son of Ogre Baki. And no, don't be one of those guys who say Baki is stronger than Yujiro during this arc just because he technically won the fight. I recommend having a reread of the fight, and if you still think that, if anything, the next two arcs still portray Yujiro as stronger regardless. I'll talk more on this shortly. Now continuing the point, right after Yuichiro disappeared, we see Yujiro with a somewhat happy face, saying that was real nostalgic. I had almost forgotten his face, and explain the whole situation of Yuichiro and him being opposites of each other. So if you're really going to use that scene as your reasoning for Yuichiro winning this fight, I guess good for you, but let's talk about something more fun now. Yuichiro is labelled as a judo master, however he only uses one technique, that being dress, or I guess guise as its real name. Yuichiro labels it as one damn strong technique that's worthy boasting about, with this single technique being the one he used to defeat the USA. We see it here looking like he's blocking bullets with a soldier's body, pretty badass. This move is like using your opponent as a nunchuck, making it look like you're surrounded by a dress with how fast it's moving, turning your opponent into a weapon that you kinda destroy yourself, pretty wild. And that's really all we know about Yuichiro. So I'll say it now, I do think Yujiro wins this fight and is stronger as a whole, but let me explain why. Yujiro is stated to have eclipsed all of the past fighters before him. This should include Yuichiro. He knows the one move Yuichiro uses and is a master of it himself. Very early in the series, it's confirmed that he continues to grow stronger at an insane rate, and we even see this when comparing Son of Ogre Yujiro to the Musashi Arc Yujiro or the current Baki Dao 2018 Yujiro. His technique arsenal is far more impressive, including potentially having mastered every martial art in the world. Some OP techniques we've seen him use include Zhao Li, Bender, and even Imagination. We don't have a solid way to argue which one is faster or stronger, apart from feats, which of course goes to Yujiro. The whole narrative of Baki having Yujiro as the strongest, with him recently being confirmed again as the strongest. They both can use the demon back, but considering what we know about it, Yujiro is likely able to use it at will, while Yuichiro perhaps is not. That isn't confirmed or anything, but considering the whole opposite situation it might be the case, especially if Yuichiro is fighting his son Yujiro. Unless you want to argue for this fight Yuichiro will be bloodlusted like he was against the USA, pulling out his demon back. I get the sense that in the past, Yujiro challenged his father, but Yuichiro refused to fight him. But again, that's just my theory, but I like to think that's something that happened. I hope we learn more about Yuichiro in the future, and of course his relationship with Yujiro. I can confirm that it would be cooler if Yuichiro was stronger than Yujiro, but from what we're being told in the series, that isn't confirmed, and if anything, it's more so Yujiro as the stronger one. If I had to guess how their fight would play out, it would be probably high diff, with Yujiro taking the dub thanks to his superior skill, even if it was a bloodlusted Yuichiro. Yujiro's arsenal of techniques would be the winning factor in my opinion, and of course most likely being able to counter dress as Baki kinda did in Yui.